Okay, next heading, you need to write what now? Properties of charges. Please put the heading. Properties of charges. So what are the properties of charges? We know already, charge is a basic entity of matter. That is intrinsic property of a matter. Okay, so there are two kinds of charges, that is positive and negative. There is one more neutral charge also exists. That is example is what now? Neutron. That is do exist. Okay, now if you go for some of the properties, there are three major properties are there. So first we take that first property is additivity of charges. Additivity of charges. Students, what I am writing on the screen, is it visible to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, okay. Additivity of charges, that is the first property. Sir, what does mean by additivity of charges? Additivity is about what now? It is simply an addition. What type of addition? Algebraic addition. Algebraic addition. Just simply what type of addition it is? Algebraic addition. Example, now say, sir, if I take a body, I given this body some charge. Let's say now plus 2q and minus 3q and plus q. Okay, now what I need to do, I need to find the total charge on a body. We just simply go for adding like this. Total charge on a body is equal to sum of individual charge. Sum of individual charge we take. So that will be what now? Q equal to, it is plus 2q plus q and plus of minus 3q. So it will become what now? This is plus 3q and minus 3q. It will be totally 0. Okay, like you can take some other body like this. It is given plus 7q. Okay, or you can take in the place of 7q. Q is there, no? In the place of, let us take elementary charge E. It will be easy for you also. Yeah, plus 7e, where E is what we call elementary charge. Its value is how much? 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulomb. Okay, minus 3e. Okay, plus 2e. So now total charge Q is given by what now? Plus 7e plus 2e and minus 3e. So how much it will become? This is 9e minus 3e. It will be 6 times of e. That is the total charge. Means it is simply algebraic addition of charges. Nothing more than that. So we add up them simply like a numbers. Okay, why this is? Because we know already charge is what type of quantity? It is scalar quantity. So I don't want to remind you what is meant by scalar, I think now. Do you want me to explain what is meant by scalar and vector? Students?
No, sir.
No, not required. So charge is, since it is a scalar quantity, so it is just like what now? Addition of charges. Okay, this is one thing. So this is the first property, what we know. Let us go for second property. That is second property is what now? Conservation of charges. Conservation of charge. So what do you know about the conservation or conservation of energy? So what is the meaning of conservation of energy? Energy neither be created nor be destroyed, but it can be converted into what now? One form to another form. Like that here, conservation of charge, nothing but the total charge on a system remains constant. It is not going to change at all. Okay, that is what we call conservation of energy. The total charge of a system remains constant. That is what we call conservation of charge. Example, now if I take, there is a body A and there is a body what we call B. So we are going to have a charge here now. I'm going to rub these two. As I rub these two by a method of friction, what will happen? Some electrons are going to transfer from body A to B. Example, say if I say 5 electrons are going to transfer. Initially, these two bodies are neutral. If you rub, what will happen? 5 electrons are going to transfer. Means this will become what now? Negatively charged. This will become A. positively charged. So what type of positive charge? It is 5 times of E, right? This will become minus 5E. Now initially they are neutral. Initial total charge of the system is how much? 0. Now final total charge I need to add up. Means in this one and this one. So plus 5E minus 5E. If you add up, how much you will get from property number 1? It will be again 0, right? So this is what we call conservation of charge. Means the total charge of a system is what now? Remains constant. That is one property. Look at the third property now. Quantization of charge. Quantization of what now? Quantization of charge. So what is meant by quantization of charge? Simple example I want to give you now. Very simple like analogy. Like you want to go and purchase what we call now, flowers. Especially people are familiar with the roses to purchase. So now you think of that these are very costly, and usually when you go to market, what will happen? They're going to give what now in terms of kg, right? Half kilo or 1 kilo like that. But now you think that it is very costly. They're not selling like in terms of kg. They're selling you in terms of pieces, 1 piece, second 2 piece like that. Now you'll go to shop and you're going to ask the shop person that person is going to sell that roses. If you ask him, I want to purchase 5.5 roses, what he will think of about you people? 5 is okay, half is okay for you. What he will think? This is what now I'm doing. It means you need to purchase either 5 or you need to purchase 6 or any other even number, even or odd number you can purchase, but you cannot act like okay, I want this fraction. So that is not allowed, right? You cannot cut half of the rose and give it to you. So same time, in the same way, quantization of charge is saying that if you taken any body, the total charge on a body, is equal to, okay, let me take total charge is Q. This Q indicate what now? Total charge. The total charge on a body is equal to what now? Integral multiple of elementary charge. So I'm going to give here plus or minus in front of them. Why plus or minus I'm giving you? Because some bodies can acquire positive charge and some bodies can acquire what now? Negative charge also. Okay, depending upon which body lose electron, which body gain electron. Means here N is nothing but what now? N is nothing but 1, 2, 3, so on. And E is nothing but what now? It is an elementary charge value 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulomb. So I can say, you know, here total charge on a body is equal to integral multiple of elementary charge. Integral multiple of elementary charge. Okay, so this is the formula we're going to use. Q equal to plus or minus n times of V, where n is number of a particle, like 1, 2, 3 can give any number, where E is what now? Integral, this is elementary charge value. Okay, students, these 3 properties are clear to all of you now. If you have any doubt regarding these 3 properties, you please let me know. I'll explain to you. If not, I'll move on to the next slide.
Can you explain once more, sir?
Which one?
Quantization.
Quantization of charge. Okay. Now listen here. Okay. As I given an example to you now, that roses. Like you cannot go and ask the 5.5 roses. Means half is not exist. Okay. Here, if you taken any body, it must contain what now? N number of this elementary charge. Example, let us say now, in the previous example only, I took here total charge 6E, right? Look at this number 6 times of E. It is indicating what now? 6 indicating number and E indicating charge. How much charge is there? Is there anywhere possible that 6.5 E? That is not at all possible. Okay, means half value is not possible there. Half or some fractions are not possible. It is always equal to N times of E. In any body, if you take an even in a human body. But almost all the cases we know the body is in neutral condition. What is the meaning of neutral condition? Nothing but here, amount of positive charge is equal to amount of negative charge. If you add up them, it will become neutral. Okay, if you charge body, okay, now look at the previous example only. Here, in the second one, conservation of charge. As we rub A and B, what will happen? An electron is going to transfer from A to B. So since body A is going to acquire positive, body B is going to acquire negative. Is that possible that 5.5 electron is going to transfer? Half electron remain in A and half electron go to B? No, not possible. Either the electron need to completely transfer or to stay there only. Okay, that's the reason it is always integral multiple of each value of a charge. Okay, now it is clear. I think industry.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So any students, any other doubt regarding these three properties? You can use a chat box even, students, so that you can send your responses. Based on your responses, I'm going to proceed, or next it will be decided. Yes, okay. Yeah. So this properties will be always asked for how many marks? 3 marks or 2 marks. Remember now. 3 mark or 2 mark. Either they can ask you to explain or to mention just. As I know, till now they asked you just to mention the properties of charges. These are the main properties. Along with these properties, there are some other properties are there. I'm going to discuss with you now. So next fourth property. What is the fourth property? Look at now. The property is, as we know already, if you taken two positive charges, if you keep them near, what will happen? They repel each other because they are like charges. If I take one positive, one negative, if they keep near, what will happen? They attract each other. From this, we can say that like charges repel each other and unlike charges attract each other. That is the one property we'll mention now here. Like charges repel each other and unlike charges attract each other. Okay, this is the one property. Okay, fifth property, let us go now. So as we know, I don't think so you remember well or not. So if any body having a mass, if it is moving with a velocity nearly equal to, okay, not velocity, speed, more exactly, the speed which is near to the speed of light, okay, its mass is going to change, right? Do you remember this equation? That mass is become what? No, m equal to m naught divided by square root of 1 minus v square by c square, where m naught is what we call rest mass. Rest mass nothing but mass of the body when it is at rest. Here v means what now? Speed of body. This is c indicate what now? Speed of light. Speed of light. So that is a new mass. How we are going to calculate? Like this, we are going to calculate when it is happening, when the body moving, okay, the body velocity speed is nearly equal to what now? Nearly equal to speed of light. Then only this case is possible. If not, okay, now sir, from my station to some other station, train is moving with velocity of 72 km/h. That mass is not going to change. Okay, sir, I'm going to ride my bike for 210 km/h. That mass is not going to change. Speed of light is how much? It is 3 into 10 power 8. Okay, of course, if you go with this speed, of course, your mass is going to change. Okay, like this. But here, when a charge is moving even, okay, it is value is invariant. Means its value is not going to change like mass. It is not going to change like mass. It means remain same, even though the body is moving with a speed nearly equal to speed of light. So I can write here in a shorthand, charge is invariant in nature. Okay, now the next property, sixth property. So here one more thing I want to tell you. Now the charge is there, no? So more charges will accumulate at the corners, a sharp edge. Okay, So charges will accumulate. I can say charge density is more. Let me say simply charge density. Charge density is high at the corner. So I can say charge density, or especially surface charge density, is sigma is proportional to 1 by r. So this is inversely proportional to r. So this will discuss when we come to the different charge densities: surface charge density, volume charge density, okay, and the linear charge density. There we discuss it is inversely proportional to radius. I think square of radius, because it is charge per unit area. Area is 4 pi r square. Okay, it is proportional to 1 by r square. Means if you take like this one surface, if you take one more surface like this, as compared to first surface and second surface, the sigma value, let me take here sigma 1, here let me take sigma 2. So sigma 2 is always greater than what now? Sigma 1. As here, look at now, this radius is small, its radius is more, means if I do a complete circle, it will become a bigger radius as compared to this. As the radius becomes less, it will become a sharp edges. There, the charge is going to stay more. So these are the few properties additionally, okay, as compared with previous three. So this is regarding the properties of charges. So you can expect here 2 mark or 3 mark or 1 mark question. Maximum is 3 mark, minimum is 1 mark question you can expect from this topic. Okay, these are like what now? Properties of charges. So do you have any doubt regarding the properties of charges, students? If not, I'll proceed for next topic. Please unmute and you can ask me if you have a doubt. If not, so send yes in a chat box or no doubt in a chat box so that we move on to the next thing. Yes. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let us move on to the next topic then. Let us move on to the next topic. The topic is now will comes under, okay, Coulomb's law will come now, new topic. Coulomb's law. What is Coulomb's law? Why we need this one? Okay, so as we know, look at this fourth property. Which property? Look at the fourth property. What is the fourth property says? The fourth property says that like charges repel each other and unlike charges attract each other. So the attracting or repelling means there must be some force exist, right? Either to repel or to attract. Like as we know Newton's law of force, motion. Okay, like the especially second law, the force we are going to define, right? That is the rate of change of momentum, that is equal to force. Numerically equal to force. If you taken a k as a constant there, like how much, now we need to see here. If I take two charges, let me take one charge here, say q1, another charge, say what now, q2, and these two are what now, separated by some distance. Let's say the distance between them is how much it is, r. How much is the distance between them? It is r, it is, as we know. So I'm going to take here afterwards r as a distance. In this entire course, I'm going to use r as a distance between the charges. Now the q1 is positive kind. If I mention, if q2 also positive, what will happen? This q1 repel q2, and of course q2 is going to also repel q1. So how much force they are going to repel each other? That is given by simple formula. That is force of repulsion between them is proportional to magnitude of these two charges and inversely proportional to square of the distance between them. Okay, if I separately write this first, okay, yeah, first one is directly proportional to magnitude of these two charges, not just like magnitude, product of magnitude, and this force is inversely proportional to square of the distance between them. Sir, is this equally applicable when you take one positive, one negative? Of course, this formula is equally applicable if you take one positive, one negative, but the difference is Since those two are unlike charges, they attract each other. Sir, what if I take both negative? Then that case also they are going to repel, but formula is same. Okay, the difference is what now? If they're unlike charges, they attract each other. If they're like charge, they repel each other. But the way to calculate how much repulsion is there or attraction is the same formula. Okay, so now if I take this as equation number 1, if I take equation number 2, from equation number 1 and 2, from what now? From equation number 1 and 2, what will happen? We can combine them. I can write force is proportional to Q1, Q2, its magnitude divided by square of the distance between them. Okay, means here they're telling that even though charge value is negative, while you're inserting this values here in the formula, you should take positive only, not allowed to take negative. That's the reason I'm writing each and every time magnitude, magnitude, magnitude. Okay, it is like a factory, like a mission. Even though if you put negative charge or positive, you're going to get what now finally? Positive charge only. So now I want to remove the proportionality constant, because as of I know, force is proportional to this right hand term. If I increase right hand term, the force is going to increase. But I want to know how exactly it's going to increase, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove the proportionality constant. I'll write force is equal to K times of Q1, Q2 divided by R square with a magnitude. Okay, this value of K is there, no? This value of K is found to be how much, 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught, where 4 pi is a constant. Epsilon naught is what we call, no? Permittivity of free space. Permittivity of free space. Okay, this is. Okay, now I have to continue this one. Before going to that, sir, what exactly the statement, if you want to write for exam, this will be asked for 2-mark question. What type of questions will come? State and explain Coulomb's law. Like this question you may see in examination, or other type of question you may see as mention vector form of Coulomb's law, and explain the terms. Explain the terms they're going to ask. So here, let me write a statement to you first, based on the observations what we have done here, all these things. So it is given by what now? It states that the force of attraction or repulsion. Why I say the word both attraction and repulsion? Because if they are like charges, they are going to repel each other. If they're unlike, they're going to attract each other. That's the reason I'm going to use both the word attraction and repulsion. Okay, so force of attraction or repulsion between any two charges. Any two charges is directly proportional to product of magnitude of both the charges and inversely proportional to square of the distance between them. I'm extremely sorry that space is not sufficient, so I wrote like this. So this is the statement. Okay, the force of attraction or repulsion between any two charges is directly proportional to the product of magnitude of both the charges and inversely proportional to square of the distance between them. So this statement you write, you get what now 1 mark. And this explanation what I given by taking the two charges and these two equation, this equation, and then continuation what I have done, this you need to do. There is a 1 more mark. Okay, so I request all of you to please have a look at this slide. If you have any doubt, please let me know. I'll explain to you. If not, you can say no doubt, or you can send your opinion in a chat box so that we'll move on to that next slide based on your opinion. Yes, the time is given to you students now. Yes, no doubt. Remaining students also, I request you to please be active. Remaining students also. Okay. Okay. Now, what and all we are doing now here, this is especially for air medium. This is especially for air medium, what I'm doing this Coulomb law. Okay. Let me continue this Coulomb law. Little more thing is there. Yes. Okay. Continuation I'll do now. Where I took this formula F equal to 1 by, okay, not 1 by, it is, yeah, eraser. F is equal to K times of magnitude of charges Q1 and Q2 divided by square of the distance between them, where K value we got how much is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught is what we call constant. We know that is constant. Next thing we are going to do here, epsilon naught is there. We need to look at this epsilon naught. What we call this is permittivity of free space. Okay. Yeah. Permittivity of free space. Okay, its value how much you know? This permittivity of free space, its value is found to be 8.854 into 10 power minus 12. Now question will come to mind all of us that what is the unit of this? How can we calculate the unit? I think many times I told you how to calculate the unit if you know the formula. It will be easy. Look at now, I'm going to take from there only. We know K value. Can we insert here? It will become what now? F equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into Q1, Q2, and both are going to take magnitude divided by R square. Now we want epsilon naught, right? So I'm going to take epsilon on the left hand side. This will become 1 by 4 pi F into Q1, Q2 divided by R square. Let us start inserting the unit of all the points on right hand side. 1 by 4 pi is a constant. That is no unit at all. Divided by 1 force is there. Force unit is Newton. Multiplied by charge. Q1, Q2 is there. What is the unit of charge? Coulomb. So for both the charge Coulomb and Coulomb, it has become what now? Coulomb square. Divided by distance is there, that is R. So its square is there. So it has become meter square. So unit become what now? It is Coulomb square. This Newton will come to numerator per Newton per meter square. So what is the unit for this now? It is Coulomb square per Newton per meter square. That is the unit of permittivity of free space. Okay, this is epsilon naught unit. It is unit of epsilon naught. Okay, so if you put this value of epsilon naught in the equation, let us take this value. K equal to, we know, right? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, that is equal to 1 divided by 4 into pi means 3.14 into epsilon naught is what now? 8.854 into 10 power minus 12. If you insert and if you simplify, you get a value 9 into 10 power 9, and the unit is what now? Look at here. 4 pi is constant, epsilon naught is a numerator. Here, one question you can ask me, sir, what exactly that spelling of this one? Epsilon naught, what we call this is EPSLON. Epsilon. EPSLON it is. That is spelling. Okay, epsilon. Okay, that you need to remember. Epsilon naught and different things will come here afterwards. So since it is a denominator, so it will be just reciprocal. It will be Newton meter square per coulomb square. That is a value of K. That is what now? That is a value of K. So you can use this value when you're solving the numerical directly. K value this much, insert and simplify. Okay, so is that clear? So this till now we have done for what type of medium? Only for air medium. Now it is always the case of air medium? No, right? There are many possible ways are there. Okay, I can do the experiment in a water medium inside. So there are more possibilities are there. There are new dimensions are there. So we need to look at that also. In order to understand that, I need to understand very clear topic about what now? This permittivity. I should be very clear regarding this permittivity first, in order to go for some other medium. So that's the reason. Let us take this discussion of permittivity. So now this is about regarding Coulomb's law and its explanation, all those things, the formula, values. So is it clear to all of you now? Yeah. Okay. Yes. Let us go for next thing then. Let understand clearly about permittivity. If you want to jump into the what we call like what we call that swimming pool, I should know first exactly how to swim. Of course, I'm going to start swimming after only jumping into the swimming pool. That the level of swimming pool is not more than my height. Okay, like that here, let us understand permittivity very clearly. Then it will be easy for us to understand what is the value of force which is going to change for different medium. Let us look at a new topic now, permittivity. The word permittivity is telling us that it is the ability of the medium. What it is? Ability of the medium to restrict the electrical field influence or electric force influence. Electric force influence or electric field also will come here. Okay, or you can say simple word electrical influence. What type of influence? Electrical influence. That is what we call permittivity. There are different types of permittivity there. In that one is permittivity of free space. First is what now? Permittivity of free space means it is the ability of the free space to restrict electrical influence. Okay. Yes. Any doubts are there, students? No. Okay. No. Okay. Okay. So in that one is what we call permittivity of free space. That is, this is the one we have taken. That is, we are going to indicate epsilon naught. One thing SPACE, and one more thing is what we call epsilon R. I think I given you epsilon. It is what now? EPSLON. I think this is you know what company name it is? You know, printers, HP printers. There is one version is epsilon version. I think if I'm not wrong. That version. Okay, epsilon R, I think, but what now? Relative permittivity. Relative permittivity. It is nothing but what now? This relative permittivity tells us the ability of the medium in compared with some other medium. It is just like your parents are going to compare your marks with some other. Like she or he got more marks as compared to you and what you're doing. Like he is more strengthened than as you, and he is getting more marks as compared to you, and you're not getting. Like that, it is here telling us information that is ability of the medium compared to what medium, especially air or vacuum medium. Okay, that is what we call relative permittivity. And one more is there, that is just we indicate epsilon. This is what we call absolute permittivity. What is the value of meaning of absolute permittivity? It is the absolute strength of yours, like absolute strength of the medium. What exact strength of medium? And we know this relation. It is given by epsilon is given by epsilon naught into epsilon r. Or I can say epsilon r equal to epsilon divided by epsilon naught. So this is the relation between these three things. This one relation or this same relation. Okay, absolute permittivity is given by what formula? It is like in the class 9th, you studied the concept of relative density. What exactly relative density? Density of any material with compared with the water at 4 degrees Celsius. Like that here, relative permittivity is the absolute permittivity divided by permittivity of free space. Means in compared with what now? Free space or air medium. That's what. Okay, here permittivity of free space already we know its value is how much? 8.854 into 10 power minus 12, and the unit also given to you, Coulomb square per Newton per meter square. Sir, what about this epsilon r? Does it have a unit? No unit. So we'll discuss that one regarding next class. Okay, so we continue permittivity in next class.